Chapter 1. The Question That Changed Everything. My name is Elena, and at 35, I was tired of people telling me I looked like I was 25. I know that sounds strange, most women would kill for such compliments. But standing in the bathroom of my Portland apartment that rainy October morning, staring at my reflection while my colleagues' words from the day before echoed in my mind, I felt more confused than flattered. "Elena, what's your secret?" Jennifer from accounting had asked during our lunch break. "Seriously, you look like you could be my daughter, and I'm only 5 years older than you." It wasn't the first time. At 35, I was constantly mistaken for someone in their mid-20s. Cashiers asked for my ID. Young men hit on me thinking I was their age. Even my own mother joked that I had stolen the fountain of youth. But here's what bothered me. I didn't feel young. Inside I felt old, ancient even. I carried wounds from a difficult divorce, stress from raising my teenage daughter Emma alone, and the weight of financial struggles that seemed endless. So why did everyone see something I couldn't feel? That morning, as I prepared for another day at my marketing job in downtown Portland, I made a decision that would change my life forever. I was going to find out why I looked younger than my age, and more importantly, I was going to learn how to feel as young as I apparently looked. Little did I know that this quest would lead me to discover truths about myself that went far deeper than skincare routines or good genetics. Chapter 2. The Unexpected Meeting. 3 weeks later, I found myself in the most unlikely place, seeking answers. A spiritual wellness conference in Seattle. My friend Maria, who'd been practicing meditation for years, had convinced me to join her for the weekend. "Elena, you need this," she'd said. "You're searching for something, and it's not going to be found in a makeup store." That's where I met Samuel Chen, a 60-something man with the most peaceful presence I'd ever encountered. Despite his age, he radiated an energy that made him seem timeless. He was leading a workshop called The Spiritual Science of Aging, Why Some Souls Stay Young. "How many of you," Samuel began, addressing our small group of about 20 people, "have been told you look younger than your age, but you don't understand why?" My hand shot up immediately, along with several others. Samuel smiled knowingly. "I thought so. You see, youthful appearance isn't just about genetics or lifestyle, though those matter. There are deeper spiritual reasons why some people seem to age more slowly. And understanding these reasons can not only explain your appearance, but transform your entire life." He shared his background. Born in Vancouver to Chinese immigrants, he'd spent decades studying both Eastern spirituality and Western psychology. He'd worked with people across North America, from tech executives in Silicon Valley to farmers in rural Canada, helping them understand the connection between spiritual well-being and physical vitality. "The ancient wisdom keepers knew something we're just rediscovering," Samuel explained. "Your spirit, your energy, your inner harmony, they all show up in your physical body. When you're aligned with your true nature, time seems to slow down around you." Chapter 3. The 8 Spiritual Keys. Over the next 2 hours, Samuel shared what he called the 8 spiritual keys to timeless beauty. As he spoke, I felt pieces of a puzzle clicking into place. The first key, the old soul energy. "Some of you," Samuel said, looking directly at me, "are what we call old souls. You've carried wisdom through many lifetimes, and this ancient knowledge protects you from the harsh aging effects of stress and negativity." He explained how old souls naturally gravitate toward peace and understanding rather than conflict and drama. In Australia, I worked with a woman named Catherine who looked 30 at 50. She later realized she'd always been the peacemaker in her family, the one others came to for wisdom. Her soul's ancient nature was literally preserving her youth. I thought about my own life, how I'd always been the friend people called for advice, how I preferred deep conversations to small talk, how I felt most at peace in quiet, contemplative moments. The second key, energy sensitivity. Old souls are often highly sensitive to energy, Samuel continued. They can feel the vibrations of places and people, and they instinctively avoid toxic environments. This protection keeps their life force strong. He mentioned a study from the University of California that showed how people with high emotional sensitivity had lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone that accelerates aging when they learn to manage their gift properly. The third key, deep empathy. Samuel's eyes grew warm as he discussed empathy. True empaths don't just feel for others. They transform negative energy into positive energy. It's like having an internal purification system that keeps their spirit clean and bright. He told us about Rebecca, a nurse in Toronto, who looked remarkably young despite working in high-stress hospital environments. She realized she was naturally absorbing patients' pain and transforming it into healing energy. Her empathy was literally protecting her from aging. The fourth key, inner wisdom. Wise souls don't waste energy on things they can't control, Samuel explained. They've learned to flow with life rather than fight against it. This creates a deep inner peace that shows up as calm, unlined faces and bright, clear eyes. He referenced research from Harvard Medical School showing how people who practiced acceptance and wisdom-based thinking had significantly slower cellular aging than those who lived in constant stress and resistance. The fifth key, a kind heart. Kindness, Samuel said with conviction, is the ultimate anti-aging serum. When you live without hatred or resentment, your energy flows freely. Toxic emotions literally poison your cells, while love and compassion nourish them. He shared the story of Margaret, an 80-year-old grandmother in New Zealand who was often mistaken for being in her 60s. She'd never held a grudge in her life. Every hurt was forgiven. Every slight was released. Her heart was so clean that time couldn't touch her. The sixth key, adaptability. Flexible people don't break under pressure, Samuel noted. They bend like bamboo in the wind. This prevents the stress accumulation that ages us prematurely. He mentioned studies from universities in the UK showing how people with high adaptability scores had longer the cellular structures associated with longevity and youth. The seventh key, optimistic spirit. Hope is the most powerful youth serum on earth, Samuel declared. Optimistic people literally see a brighter future, and their bodies respond by staying healthy and vibrant to meet that future. He cited research from Yale School of Medicine demonstrating that people with positive attitudes about aging lived an average of 7.5 years longer and looked younger throughout their lives. The eighth key, the chosen one energy. Samuel's voice grew reverent as he discussed the final key. Some souls come to earth with special missions to heal, to teach, to inspire. This divine purpose fills them with such powerful life force that their bodies seem almost immune to time's effects. He told us about David, a music teacher in Austin who looked 25 at 40. He realized his mission was to help children discover their creativity. The joy and purpose he felt from this calling literally energized every cell in his body. Chapter 4, My Personal Discovery. During the lunch break, I approached Samuel privately. I think I might be an old soul, I said hesitantly, but I don't feel wise or peaceful. I feel tired and stressed all the time. Samuel studied my face with gentle eyes. Elena, you have the energy signature of someone carrying ancient wisdom, but you've been fighting against your nature instead of embracing it. Tell me about your life. I opened up about my divorce, my struggles as a single mother, my financial stress, my feeling of being lost and overwhelmed. Samuel listened without judgment. You've been trying to be someone you're not, he said finally. Society told you to be aggressive in business, competitive with others, constantly busy and stressed. But your soul is naturally peaceful, contemplative, and wise. The disconnect between who you are and how you're living is exhausting you. He gave me a simple assignment. For the next month, I want you to honor your old soul nature. Meditate for 10 minutes each morning. Choose peace over conflict whenever possible. Trust your intuitive wisdom more than your logical mind. Let's see what happens. Chapter 5. The transformation begins. Back in Portland, I began implementing Samuel's guidance. The changes were subtle at first, but gradually something shifted. I started waking up 15 minutes earlier to meditate, using a simple breathing technique Samuel had taught me. Instead of immediately checking my phone and filling my mind with stress and noise, I sat quietly and connected with my inner wisdom. At work, when conflicts arose, I found myself naturally taking the role of peacemaker, rather than getting drawn into drama. I noticed that my colleagues seemed to calm down when I was around, as if my energy was somehow soothing to them. Most surprisingly, I began trusting my intuition more. When my boss asked me to work on a project that felt wrong to me, instead of automatically saying yes, I voiced my concerns. It turned out my instincts were right. The project had serious flaws that would have caused problems later. Emma, my teenage daughter, was the first to notice the change. "Mom, you seem different," she said one evening. "More, I don't know, peaceful. You're not as stressed all the time." Chapter 6. The Setback. About 6 weeks into my transformation, I hit a major obstacle. My ex-husband Mark suddenly demanded increased custody of Emma, threatening a legal battle I couldn't afford. The stress was overwhelming, and I felt all my old patterns of anxiety and fear rushing back. I found myself snapping at colleagues, losing sleep, and feeling that familiar weight of the world on my shoulders. When I looked in the mirror, I was shocked to see stress lines around my eyes that hadn't been there before. Panicking, I called Samuel. "I'm losing it," I confessed. "All the peace and wisdom I thought I'd found, it's gone. I'm right back where I started." Samuel's calm voice came through the phone like a lifeline. "Elena, this isn't a setback, it's a test. Your old soul wisdom is still there, but you're facing your greatest teacher, the challenge that will either break you or make you truly strong." He helped me understand that old souls often face intense challenges, not as punishment, but as opportunities to deepen their wisdom and strengthen their spiritual muscles. Chapter 7. Finding My True Power. With Samuel's guidance, I approached the custody battle differently than I would have in the past. Instead of fighting Mark with anger and fear, I centered myself in love for Emma and trust in my own wisdom. I meditated each morning, asking for guidance on how to handle each day with grace. I spoke to Mark with kindness rather than defensiveness, which seemed to diffuse his aggression. I focused on what was best for Emma rather than my own wounded ego. The legal proceedings dragged on for 3 months, but something amazing happened during that time. People kept commenting on how calm and strong I seemed despite the stress. My lawyer was amazed by my clarity and level-headedness. Even Mark's lawyer mentioned to mine that I seemed remarkably composed for someone going through this. But the most profound moment came when Emma told me she wanted to stay with me full-time because, in her words, "You make me feel safe and peaceful, Mom. I don't feel that chaos around you anymore." The custody battle resolved in my favor, but more importantly, I had discovered my true spiritual strength. Chapter 8. The Ripple Effect. As I continued embracing my old soul nature, the effects rippled out into every area of my life. At work, I was promoted to lead a new team focused on sustainable marketing practices, a role that perfectly aligned with my natural wisdom and desire to create positive change. My relationship with Emma deepened as I learned to trust her growing independence, while offering guidance from my centered, peaceful place, rather than my previous anxious hovering. I even started volunteering at a local women's shelter, helping other women going through divorces and custody battles. My ability to remain calm and wise in crisis situations made me a natural counselor and advocate. People continued to comment on my youthful appearance, but now I understood why. The stress lines had disappeared. My eyes were brighter. I moved with the fluid grace of someone at peace with herself and her place in the world. Chapter 9. Teaching Others. 6 months after meeting Samuel, he invited me to co-facilitate a workshop in Vancouver with him. "You've become a living example of what happens when an old soul embraces their true nature," he said. "Others need to hear your story." During the workshop, I shared my journey with a room full of people who, like me, had been told they looked younger than their age, but didn't understand why. I watched recognition dawn in their eyes as I described the 8 spiritual keys and how they'd transformed my life. A woman named Jennifer from Calgary approached me afterward. "I'm 42, but everyone thinks I'm 30, she said. "I've always felt like I was carrying ancient wisdom, but I thought that was weird. You've helped me see it as a gift." A man named Robert from Melbourne shared that he'd always been highly empathetic, but saw it as a weakness. "Now I understand it might be why people say I have a youthful energy," he said. "I want to learn how to use this gift properly." Chapter 10. The Full Circle. A year after that first workshop in Seattle, I received an unexpected call. It was from a researcher at the University of Washington who had heard about Samuel's work and wanted to study the connection between spiritual practices and aging. "We're particularly interested in people like you," Dr. Sarah Martinez explained, "who have experienced dramatic improvements in both appearance and well-being through spiritual alignment." I agreed to participate in her study, which involved MRI scans, blood tests, and psychological assessments. The results were fascinating. My telomeres, the cellular markers of aging, were significantly longer than average for my age group. My cortisol levels were low despite the stress I'd faced. Most remarkably, my brain scans showed patterns typically associated with much younger individuals. You're literally aging more slowly than your peers, Dr. Martinez told me, and based on our preliminary findings, it seems directly connected to your spiritual practices and emotional state. The study was eventually published in the Journal of Holistic Health, contributing to a growing body of research on the connection between spirituality and longevity. Chapter 11, Living the Truth. Today, at 37, I look and feel younger than I did at 35. But more importantly, I understand why. I'm living in alignment with my true nature as an old soul, and that harmony between my inner and outer self creates a kind of timeless energy that protects and preserves me. I've learned that looking younger isn't about fooling time, it's about transcending it. When you live from your soul's deepest truth, when you embrace your spiritual gifts instead of fighting them, when you choose love over fear and wisdom over reaction, you step outside the normal flow of aging and into something more magical. Emma, now 17, often brings friends over who are amazed that I'm her mother. Your mom seems more like your older sister, they say. But Emma understands something deeper. My mom found out who she really is, she tells them. That's why she looks so young and happy. Chapter 12, The Message for You. As I write this story, I think about all the people who have been told they look younger than their age, but don't understand why. If you're one of them, I want you to know that there's likely something very special about your spiritual nature. You might be an old soul carrying ancient wisdom. You might be a natural empath transforming energy around you. You might have a special connection to positive forces that protect and preserve you. You might be here on earth with a divine mission that fills you with life-extending purpose. Whatever your gift, the key is to stop fighting it and start embracing it. Stop trying to be what the world says you should be, and start being who your soul knows you are. Looking younger than your age isn't just a genetic accident, it's often a sign that you're meant for something more, something deeper, something that connects you to the timeless wisdom of the universe. Samuel taught me that we all have a choice. We can live on the surface, aging with worry and stress, or we can dive deep into our spiritual truth and discover the fountain of youth that has always existed within us. The mirror doesn't lie when it shows you a youthful face despite your chronological age. It's reflecting your soul's true nature. The question is, are you brave enough to discover what that nature really is? Your spiritual essence is waiting to be recognized, embraced, and lived. And when you finally answer that call, you'll discover that looking younger than your age was just the beginning of a much more profound transformation. The journey to ageless beauty starts from within. And for those courageous enough to take it, it leads not just to youthful appearance, but to a life of purpose, peace, and profound joy that truly transcends time. Today, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what is my soul trying to tell me? The answer might just change everything.